How many of you know many people in our world are faced with overwhelming circumstances? And most of those who are faced with overwhelming circumstances stand and stare at them. But there are many who look at their overwhelming circumstances and decide to do something about them. They get their hands dirty, or as the saying goes, they get their feet wet. I want to speak to you today, and I've entitled the message, "It's time to get our feet wet." So let's read from Joshua chapter 3. It says, early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan. Jordan is an interesting word. It means flowing downwards. How many of you know that if you just let your life go, it goes downwards? Now watch, where they camped before crossing over. Most of our lives are camped in a place, but we've got to cross over. After 3 days, the officers went through the camp, giving orders to the people. Not suggestions, orders. When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Verse 4, then you will know which way to go. This is true of the church, since you have never been this way before. I mean, God's leading us into fresh things, individually and as a church. Now, Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves, separate, commit, live up to the things of God. For tomorrow, the Lord will do amazing things among you. I've discovered that God does amazing things through committed people, not through the casual. Verse 6, it says, Joshua said to the priests, take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people. Leaders always go before people. They show the way, don't only tell the way. So they took it up and they went ahead, and the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so that they may know that I'm with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. I want you to underline that. Go and stand in the river. In other words, I want you to get your feet wet. Now watch what happens. Joshua said to the Israelites, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, Jebusites, and all the other parasites. And most of you are awake. Verse 12, now then, watch this. Choose 12 men. Anyone remember that when they went to explore the land the first time and they failed, they chose 12 men? But these 12 men were leaders full of faith. And faith makes all the difference. He says you're from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe. And as soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, watch this, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. Isn't that amazing? As soon as you get your feet wet, God's got something to work with. In verse 14 it says, so when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, you've always got to break something that you're settled in if you're going to cross over. The priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now, the Jordan is at flood stage all during harvest. Now, let's read on. Yet as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan, watch this, and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. Why don't you underline the word stop flowing? Because it's so important to recognize that things can happen that are powerful when we get our feet wet. It piled up in a great heap, a great distance away, at a town called Adam in the vicinity of Zarethan, while the water flowed down to the Sea of the Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, was completely cut off. So the people crossed over. I love that phrase. They crossed over opposite Jericho. The priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stopped in the middle of the Jordan and stood on dry ground, while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had completed the crossing on dry ground. So number one, when God did this with the people, something was being mobilized. Something was being mobilized. God was moving his people out of a comfortable place where they camped, where they enjoyed his blessing. He fed them. He gave them water. He gave them manna. He gave them quail. He was now mobilizing them to cross over into something and to begin to do something. They'd got into a lovely pattern of comfortable routine, but now he wanted them to move out. Number two, something was being changed. Israel was now going to be changed from a nation that had a slave mentality, where they just, God bless me, bless me, bless me, to now they would have a warrior mentality. They'd go and fight and take possession. It's wonderful to be blessed of the Lord and to be saved, isn't it? But you are meant to go out and take land, take possession. As a business person, you're meant not just to be a salaried person waiting for an increase or complaining so that you can get an increase, but you're meant to go out and make your own increase. Something was being changed. God was daring them to be different. Number 3, something was being modeled. This is very important. The priests went ahead of the people as leaders and showed them the way. Because people don't do what people say, people do what people see. And so something was being modeled here, a vision for new territory. 12 positive men, 1 from each tribe, was leading the way, and that's what leaders ought to do. Number 4, something was being demonstrated. Something was being demonstrated here. In fact, God was showing them how He works. How many of you know miracles happen when we do something? You notice in each miracle in the Bible, something had to be done. In the opening of the Red Sea, Moses didn't just stand there and say, God, the Lord said, stretch forth your rod, a piece of wood. Come on. He needed Moses to stretch forth the wood, then He would open the sea. God needs your little something to do something big. Number 5, something was being developed. Every time God gets you to do something, not only is something being modeled and demonstrated and something's being changed, God is actually developing you. As you step out and get your feet wet, something grows in you. And guess what it usually is? Faith. He was showing them that if they did something, their small actions trusting Him would result in powerful response. Number 6, something was being matured. Something was being matured. You see, God doesn't usually give you what you want when you ask. He teaches you how to trust Him and how to grow and how to step out. And they were growing in their maturity. They were used to handouts. They were receiving people in the wilderness. But God was saying, no, I'm going to mature you. You're going to go into the land now and you're going to have to do some things and I'll be there to back you. You're going to have to attack the cities and I'll give you victory. Mature people don't stand with their hands outstretched. Is this all we're eating all day long? Manna. We need some meat. Then came the quail. And we're thirsty. Why did you bring us here to die? Then the water came. Now, how many of you know you can't live like that? No, we've got to now start stepping out. And as we step out, we mature. And then we see God reward us. The first generation didn't understand it. God was maturing them. And God's maturing Rivers Church. We can't just sit comfortably. We've got to step out and be mature people who take possession of the land.